there's something wrong with the education.
Something missing. I have an example, but not now. I don't think so. Please.
So, I'm in third year photography. I finished 2 C years, and I'm facing a 4th year, in which I'm supposed to do a final project, and I decided when I was getting my C grade, I'm going to do it again, because there's something there I have to find, and I now have a reference point. A year of failure, now I have to take that same project and do it again, and not look for a new project and something different that I will have no way of evaluating my success. And I'm sure you can imagine how frustrating it is, because that's part of the reason that we're all here. Because we're not happy with the work that we're doing. We're always trying to do more. And that's a good thing. I'm reading this incredible book by Monet, and all his life he felt like that. Picasso felt the same way. He said, my painting is it's horrible. This is what Picasso said in the 70s. He says, why should I get up in the morning? My work is horrible. His work is brilliant. But we deal with trying to do the impossible. And we aim for it, and we strive for it, and it's hard. I want to show you pictures that I grew up. This comes out of my master's thesis. I just pulled the thing apart. This is the stuff that I was doing on Lake Ontario, which was not quite an ocean or a landscape. This is the first year I was doing it on coated bromide paper without any unusual developing of the negative, all according to instructions. And they were all wrong, but you didn't know that. You figured this is the instructions Kodak gives you to develop a negative. You look at the characteristic curve of the film, you pick the one with the most latitude, and this is what I was getting. Found objects, junk, sitting on the beach. This isn't the waterfront, this isn't the shore. So, at that point, facing the 4th year, the final year, I said, something's wrong. I just don't know. There's something wrong, and I don't know how to get it onto. There's got to be something out there, because I would look at the work of Weston, and I would say, Weston's here. There's that gap. How do you climb it? How do you get across to the other side? So I made 2 piles of work, and ones that surfaced were on the work there were very few. Most of it was junk. But these 2 images had something to me which were special. They were very simple. I mean, this is something any kid could do with a camera. What was special is that in this picture I saw these ridges of white around the edges. How each mound of sand attracted to it both a white line and a black line right next to it. That was a discovery. I'd never seen that before. I never looked to that level of resolution. You look for pictures, you know. We're out there looking for pictures, aren't we? We'll see them, we'll know them. Well, that was wrong. Because I tried it, and for years, I could see that I ran out. It wasn't working. You know, they would tell you, you've got to do more. You've got to express yourself more. The word express, you use it all the time. It's a nasty word. It's violent. It means take something and squeeze the juice out of it. You want to express yourself? That's what happens. You've got to try to say everything you know. It's like a sponge. You're the sponge. And they say, okay, express yourself. And you squeeze something out of that sponge, and they say, that's not enough. We know that. You want more and more. And then you finally get to a point where you say, well, I've said everything I can. I don't know anything. Oh, you have to climb, you have to do more than that. And at that point, that's when students start to lose it. They start to do things that are violent, self-destructive, completely, they have no idea why, and they hurt themselves, and, because the teacher is saying, you have to express yourself more, you have to press it out. And the answer is, you don't have any more to press out. And I realized that. I realized it in these pictures, and these two hinted that there is something out there that you don't know. And so instead of going out to express myself, I said, you're not going to take a single picture unless you learn something new. Go out and look, see something that you've never noticed before, because that is what is unique. It's the only thing I can learn from these two pictures. And I said, it's worth a try because I've got nothing else to hold on to. At the same time, I decided that something was wrong with my technique, because when you started to put up work in class, the common things they would talk about were, why did you choose a white background or a white cardboard? Why not a gray one? Why did you do this and not that? Why don't you crop? Cut off a little bit and you'll improve it. And those are so superficial. And I wanted somebody to say something about what's in the image, not about how it's presented. About, is there anything in there that's worth anything? And the answer was no. So say it. Say, look at it. It doesn't matter what you do. They're not good. They don't say anything. They're common. They're even vulgar. They're exactly what everybody sees, and it's junk on the beach. So for that very difficult fourth year, I was actually started at the end of the third year when I started noticing phenomena that was strange, different, things I hadn't seen before. And I said, I'm doing that project over again, and I'm going to go out there, and I'll go out without a camera, and just sit and look. And the deal was, you don't go home until you see something new, something different, until you understand something that you haven't understood before. It doesn't matter what, but it has to be something new and different, and it's out there, and you have to learn to see it. Because the great masters did it. At the same time, I realized that in order for them not to talk about print quality and stuff was to get a better edge on it. And then I went to the basic photo series. Basic photo series. There was nothing basic about basic photo series. It was as advanced as you could want. This is the series of Edsel Adams, the negative, the print, natural light photography. It was so advanced and wonderful. And then you started to learn about technique that they didn't teach at Rochester Institute of Technology. They just taught, follow the instructions, and all the instructions were too commonplace. So this is what I did in that year.
This is the first book that preceded that series. After this, you wrote the whole series.
Wow, I didn't see this. Awesome. This is vintage.
Very timely.
So this was part of my master's project, and this also, and they were, and to look at the two of them together, all of these, to look at these together and to see, to take that step in 1 year from this to that, or from this to this, and to take that step today, it gets me angry. It gets me so angry. 1 year. Which meant that everything that I had been taught was wrong. because you could get that difference 1 year. They didn't teach it. And if they only would have taught the simplest thing, said to you when they looked at this, these are simple. This is something that you know. You're trying to go find pictures. Don't look for pictures. That's the wrong way to get them. You want to look for pictures, go out to a gallery. Come here. These are real things. But if you want to photograph, learn to see. Learn to see all the things that you don't realize and don't know. And it's all out there and you don't know how to see. Now, if an instructor would have told that, it would have given them hope. Because it would have meant that it's okay not to know. And the answer is not to squeeze that sponge harder, but rather, instead of expressing yourself, to impress. To constantly feed that sponge. Hold it open. Don't squeeze it, just hold it open and let it fill up. And while you're holding it open, it is dripping out from the bottom. Those are your images. The more input, the more you learn, and the more you notice, and the more we'll perceive and feel, the more we'll be able to find work and to climb that next level. And that is what basically I try and do in my classes. And we all have to start out with a certain way of thinking. I'm going to follow some of the notes that I put down here. If I talk about number 6 and 7, the problem of education,